The room was too quiet for a Friday. Not calm. Tense. Contracts lay across the polished boardroom table like war plans. One VP swirled whiskey in a crystal tumbler, grinning at the Bloomberg ticker behind him. A $28 million merger was minutes from closing. Press releases? Pre-written. Dinner reservations? Made. The pen hovered. Then the door opened. No knock. No assistant. Just heels on marble and a manila folder in hand. Amara Bennett, the pretty one from compliance. The one they used for photos, but never listened to. The one they underestimated. She didn't ask permission. She dropped the folder like a verdict. Termination notices. Flag transfers. A freeze order signed by the company's founder. What the hell is this? The CFO snapped. Her voice, even. Clause 11B. The CEO scoffed. That clause was never used. It has now. The lead investor leaned forward. You're not authorized. She pointed at the founder's signature. I am. Behind her, the screen blinked. $28,000,000. Dalton from M&A stood up. You just tanked our entire quarter. Amara turned to leave. Calm. No warning. No meeting. You just killed the deal. She paused in the doorway. No. You did, she said. I just made sure the paperwork caught up. Then she walked out, papers fluttering behind her, screens screaming in silence, and not a single man in that room able to follow. When Amara Bennett joined the corporate strategy team at Halston Ridge Capital, the welcome wasn't curiosity. It was compliments. Wow, they weren't kidding. You light up the room. Glad we're finally hiring people who look like the future. You've got presence. Just don't let them bury you in spreadsheets. No one asked about her resume. No one cared she graduated early with top honors, that she'd interned at 2 hedge funds. They saw hair, heels, lipstick, and stopped there. Amara knew the game. Smile, nod, absorb. Let them underestimate you. Let them relax. She sat through meetings quiet. When she spoke, they said, that's cute. When she contributed, they said, she's learning. She wasn't invited to model deals, just assemble decks. She caught a senior associate stealing her bullet points, word for word. He submitted it under his name. She didn't flinch. They liked her as a brochure, not a strategist. Once at happy hour, someone asked if she was a model trying out finance for the vibes. She smiled, not because it was funny, because they had no idea. They gave her optics. She took access. Every folder they forgot to lock. Every contract left in public drives. Every calendar invite with an undisguised file name. She found it all. The Corvinix deal. $28 million. Rushed. Signed by 2 execs who usually disagreed. It smelled off. She flagged one vendor routing error. Her manager said, just make it pretty, Bennett. So she did. She made the prettiest folder they'd never see coming. One spreadsheet for them. One spreadsheet for herself. Because while they were polishing press releases, Amara was mapping the arteries of the deal and sharpening the scalpel. It started with a name, Gravemont Advisory, buried on page 6 of a deal summary, listed as facilitating consultant. No one ever mentioned it in meetings. Amara ran a vendor check. Nothing. No internal contracts. No compliance logs. No contact info. She ran it through public records. Registered 2 months ago. No employees. Address? A mailbox rental in Phoenix. That's when her pulse changed. The Corvinix deal was moving too fast. $28 million. Greenlit by 3 departments in just 4 weeks. No outside audit. No legal lag. No pushback. Just momentum. Always a red flag. She traced the approval trail. Mostly one name. Lance Durrell, VP of Corporate Expansion. The one who told her she was too pretty for risk management. He'd signed off on everything. Even vendor payouts that should have required dual sign-off. She began logging timestamps, tracking IPs, noting document inconsistencies. One file used British spelling. Another didn't. Sloppy laundering always leaves accents behind. She stayed late, pretended she was finalizing a QBR deck. Actually, she was pulling print logs from the secured network queue. That's where she found it. A wire transfer instruction sheet. $3.4 million to Gravemont. Authorized by Lance. No second signature. She cross-referenced contract templates. Checked Shell Corp links and found one more hit. Gravemont's parent entity, flagged in Canada for fund abuse. Now it wasn't suspicion. It was evidence. She floated one question to a compliance rep. Should we verify Gravemont's registration? He shrugged. Deals get messy. Just don't be the one making the mess. So she stopped talking, started compiling. Printouts, logs, wire instructions, mismatched trails. Then she accessed the firm's founder charter, a 178-page PDF no one had touched in years. There it was. Clause 11B. Any registered finance officer could freeze a deal over $25 million if ethical discrepancies were discovered before board signing. Never used. No digital enforcement, but still legal, still binding, still real. And suddenly, so was her authority. This wasn't a flag it and see moment. It was all in or vanish. So she committed. 2 days of surgical silence. Coffee in hand. Smiles in place. Still the pretty one in meetings. But behind the eyes, a scalpel. She printed the full founder charter. Highlighted every line tied to freeze authority. She didn't go to senior legal. She went to a junior paralegal she once helped at 2 a.m. Fixing slides. Staying late. I just need to know if this clause is still live, she asked. The paralegal blinked. Skimmed the page. Nodded once. Yeah, still active. No one's ever used it. They will, Amara said, then walked out. That night, she went back into the forgotten compliance archive, pulled Corvinix's foreign filings, and there it was, Gravemont's parent firm, on an international watch list. That was her match. That was her ignition. She didn't run to HR, didn't draft a memo. She created a trigger, a silent one. She uploaded her entire file, wire logs, Shell Corp ties, ethics breaches, all of it, to a locked third-party archive. She named it quarterly_Vassar_final_edits.xlsx. Innocuous, forgettable, perfectly boring. Inside, the nuclear option. She timed a digital flag to hit General Counsel. 8 minutes before the signing. Backups? Triple. One in her desk drawer, one in legal's inbox, one in her tote bag, each one labeled in red. Confidential. 11B initiation. She didn't rehearse a speech. She prepared documentation because she wasn't going in to argue. She was going in to activate. At 8:43 a.m., the system sent a freeze alert. At 8:47, the compliance lock triggered. At 8:49, legal halted the deal queue. At 8:51, Amara stood up, picked up her folder, and walked toward the boardroom. The same one where she'd never been invited to speak. No blazer change, no press, no backup, just the truth, and a clause they never bothered to delete. The boardroom looked like victory. Crystal glasses half filled, champagne chilling in the corner. The CEO had removed his blazer, casual power mode. The $28 million Corvinix deal was scheduled to close in 10 minutes. No compliance, no legal, no red flags, just confidence. Then the door opened. No knock, no assistant, just Amara Bennett. No title badge, no folder parade, just a single manila envelope tucked under her arm, and a face trained for restraint. Someone laughed. We're good on drinks, sweetheart. She walked past him, to the head of the table, to the CEO. She placed the folder in front of him and spoke 6 words. This deal violates Clause 11B. A pause, then snickers, then full laughter. Clause what? She's not on this calendar. Someone get legal. But when the CEO opened the folder, the mood shifted like a snap tension wire. Inside, wire logs, vendor trails, Gravemont Shell filings, founder charter, printed and underlined in red, notarized freeze order, time-stamped system alert, silence. A board member read the top page twice. This is valid. The CFO leaned into whisper. Do we authorize her? Amara answered for him. You didn't need to. My role qualifies. Org chart, page 2. Dalton from M&A stood, furious. You've just killed a $28 million transaction. No, she said. I stopped a $28 million liability. The compliance portal pinged on someone's tablet. Transaction terminated. Ethics flag confirmed. The champagne was packed back into the cart. The press team outside was told to stand down. Legal walked in late and froze. Too late. A senior advisor tried to salvage dignity. So we reschedule? Next week. Amara shook her head. There's nothing to reschedule. Proceeding now would mean you knowingly ignored vendor fraud. I'd be obligated to report it. No yelling. No chest beating. Just law. The CO didn't argue. He just exhaled, because they knew it was over. The only sound left was the echo of Amara's heels as she walked out, leaving behind a contract, still warm with signatures that never got signed, and a deal they thought was fireproof. Now ashes in a compliance folder. The ripple didn't take hours. It took minutes. By the time Amara reached her desk, the firm's Slack was on fire. Korvanik's deal terminated, ethics clause triggered, was the headline in 5 channels. People stared as she passed, not with pity, not with admiration, with confusion, because the intern they'd once mistaken for optics had just tanked a $28 million deal and made it look easy. The executive wing? Silent. Doors closed. Phones off the hook. A fortress now fortified by fear. Within 24 hours, 2 things happened. A firm-wide compliance memo hit every inbox. An emergency all-hands was called to reinforce integrity culture. At that meeting, the CEO, shirt wrinkled, voice tight, said, "Mistakes were made. Oversight gaps will be addressed." He never said Amara's name. He didn't need to. Everyone already knew. That afternoon, the Gravemont Shell Company was outed by a journalist in a niche finance wire. The article went viral in the industry. Lance Durrell, the VP who signed the vendor payouts, suspended, then scrubbed, name gone from the staff portal before Monday. Amara got 3 emails that week. A formal apology from legal, a retention incentive offer from HR, 60% raise, equity bonus development track. She declined, and a short, anonymous message from a first-year analyst. "You gave the rest of us oxygen." That one she kept. Recruiters came next, big firms. "Come build with us. Name your price." She ignored them. She wasn't looking to climb their ladders. She was thinking about how to build her own. Meanwhile, inside the firm, things moved. An internal audit committee was formed. Clause 11B was digitized. A new role was created, ethics liaison. Amara's name was added quietly, not as a prize, as a warning. Executives no longer joked when she walked by. They paused, not out of fear, but because they knew she saw through them now. One day in the break room, she passed a VP. He stopped talking mid-sentence. She didn't even slow down, because what she took down wasn't just a deal. It was the entire illusion, that no one below the table could flip it. The headlines faded, as headlines do. The firm posted a new client win, launched a mentorship initiative, and called it a new era. But Amara Bennett didn't need headlines. She had something better, permanence. While leadership booked workshops, and HR pushed inclusive leadership slides, Amara was working in the background, building firewalls. She declined the promotion. She didn't want their title. She wanted access. So she asked for something different. Permanent deal visibility for junior staff. An anonymous alert line routed directly to external auditors. Clause 11B, rewritten into live protocol triggers. They agreed. They didn't negotiate. They just signed. But that wasn't the real move. The real move was cultural. She created a Slack channel. Private. No announcements. No emojis. Just a quiet name. #ClauseWatch. In week 1, it had 2 members. In week 3, 75. She read every message, replied where it mattered, never signed her name, because this wasn't about her. It was about unmuting the floor. On her last day, yes, she eventually left. She wore the same gray blazer they once asked her to wear, for a photo shoot, not for drama, for closure. She packed up her desk in a single box, left no note, no farewell email, but she did leave one thing behind, a framed copy of the termination letter. That killed the Korvanik's deal. Stamped in red, $28 million gone. The intern who took her desk found it the next morning. HR tried to remove it. Legal said leave it. Months later, Amara joined a watchdog group, not as a case study, as a strategist. She trained auditors on pattern recognition, spoke quietly at universities, met with women who looked like her. She told them, power doesn't come from knowing everything. It comes from knowing what they hope you won't notice. The room went still. Back at home, Amara kept a drawer full of old charters, clauses, and codes, documents from firms she'd never worked at, because she wasn't done, not even close. She had learned one truth. Corruption doesn't hide in chaos. It hides in confidence. In her new career, taking that confidence apart, one clause at a time,